All right, welcome to Simple Man Radio. How's everybody doing? Today we got Snacks of the Big Dogs Gotta Eat channel. If you're a fantasy football fan, you probably heard of it. Snacks, what's going on, man? Tell the people who you are.
So, how are you, Bobby? It's a pleasure to be on Simple Man Radio, as you know, my favorite radio station in the world. Yes, Snacks. I work with the Big Dogs Gotta Eat fantasy and stuff like that. May have seen me on Talking Giants every now and then when they decide it's appropriate to bring me on. But yeah, just a sane Giants fan, and that's pretty much it. I'm a simple guy on Simple Man Radio.
Yeah, that's the only people we have on are Simple Man. If you think yourself complicated, you're not. Here's a Simple Man question I have for you to start off. I did a video last night, and I got told this is a girl headband. I thought this was a unisex headband. Do you like? I legit don't know.
I'm going to be honest. I don't really know either because I've never actually used a headband. I don't have much
Me
hair.
either. This is the first time in my life I bought a headband. I just figured like, okay, just as long as it isn't pink with unicorns on it, I'm fine. And it's a black really, headband. I thought I was fine.
And it's not that visible. And when you probably go out in public, you're like 7'4", so nobody's really going to see it. I don't think it's that big of a deal, to be honest. So,
I mean, a couple of YouTube commenters were like, "Are you serious? You're wearing a girl headband?" And I got a little self-conscious. So
what do? You put it on the next day?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been out getting stuff done this morning, so I couldn't just have my hair perfect with showered and perfect.
Face for radio.
Yeah, we got Justin Penkin in here. Oh. All right, let's talk about some stuff. Andrew Thomas. I have Andrew Thomas on my mind for some reason.
When isn't he on your mind?
Someone said unisex headband is an oxymoron, and I deserve that. Patrick Graham staying with the Giants, which is like that just excites me. I think he's the one. Maybe the best coordinator of the past 20 years for the Giants. I know it's a little early, but it's like I love Spags, but I didn't see Spags as a guy that was going to do more with less. Where I thought Spags was like, hey, I got this talent, I can use this talent to the best of their abilities. Kevin Gilbride I liked, but he had some downfalls. Like, isn't that I hate to, I don't want to get too like clicky cliche, but I feel like him not taking interviews actually speaks to the quote unquote culture, the word that we hate so much when it comes to the Giants. But I feel like that plays to the Joe Judge culture, whereas he's just not even entertaining interviews. Like there's nothing wrong with taking interviews.
Right.
And a lot of times your first round of interviews just means, hey, next year or the year after is when you're going to get that head coach gig.
It's usually a setup for the following year, right? So we saw that he was going to take an interview with the Jets requested permission to interview him, and then the next day he signs an extensions, which is it's kind of funny that it's like the Jets were the first to ask for permission, or as far as we know, and then not doing it, going to stay with the Giants, and that's the first offseason win for us. Like you said, he's easily the best coordinator we've had in 20 years, which there hasn't been a long lineage of good coordinators to come in the building. And Spagnuolo you brought up, but he had all-world pass rushers that can make his job 20 times easier, and Patrick Graham did all of that with, I don't want to say nothing because there's obviously some fine players on the defense, but to compare the two is just ridiculous. So Patrick Graham being back is a big win. Hopefully there's another coordinator on his way out soon.
Yeah. Jason Garrett did not get the same deal, even though he's taking an interview with the Chargers. I can see the Chargers somehow convincing themselves with Jason Garrett. But look what he did with Dak and Tony Romo, and them just being like, "Oh, Daniel Jones, there's no fixing that kid."
Right. Herbert's already a stud.
The turnovers went down. I can see, and looking at his record and thinking he's a good head coach and a good talent scout for all the talent they had.
It's also the Chargers, and they've been known to do some
exactly.
Things,
they're incompetent. They're a really bad organization.
They are not good. But I mean, people were saying, obviously Giants Twitter's like, take him. He's a great coach. He's a great man. He does all these things. Just obviously being sarcastic, but there's like Mike Garafolo and Jane Slater. All these people were going on record like, make fun of all you want. Don't look at the replies, but he's actually a good head coach. I mean, I don't know.
I think he's a better head coach than offensive coordinator.
Well, without a doubt, yes. And obviously that's very apparent from what we just saw this past season. So I think
he's probably a pretty good talent scout. Think about the GM's structure in Dallas. It was Jerry Jones and his son were the GM, and then Jason Garrett probably the other scouts, and they there's one thing the Cowboys are good at is drafting good players. Like they have constantly brought in the best players. It's just that Garrett and they suck. They don't coach them right, and they're usually like the most undisciplined team in the NFL.
Always. And it was pretty nice having Jason Garrett on Dallas' sideline forever because you kind of knew a screw up during the game was coming at some point. And then they went and hired Mike McCarthy, which the screw up still comes. So
yeah, it's like a worse version of Garrett. I love they're just addicted to the big name. Like Mike McCarthy spent a weekend at PFF, and the fact that he like admitted like in his first press conference, like that wasn't as much as it seemed. Like we did that like once a month or whatever.
He punked everybody.
And then admitted it in his first press conference.
Yeah. My gosh. Well, that's not our problem. So
this is on the Talking Giants channel today. I'm going to leave a comment. Subscribe to the Cinnamon channel. Next week it'll be only on there, so you'll have to join to get there, and obviously on the podcast apps and all that. Trevor Lawrence to Jacksonville.
Now,
do you think?
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't know if you're going to bring it up. There's like this whole Justin Fields thing going number one is just complete lunacy.
Is it though?
Come on.
Urban Meyer is going to be the Jaguars head coach. Like yes. I feel like that's a fact at this point. Like Urban Meyer will be the Jaguars head coach. They're just like Urban Meyer's playing hardball because he knows they'll pay whatever.
Yeah,
like, I don't think it's crazy to think that Fields is the guy.
I mean, if Urban Meyer was, I don't think Urban Meyer is attached to Justin Fields, right? Because he transferred when Mike Day was there. I believe. I could be wrong. But you really going to go into Jacksonville and hitch your wagon on Justin Fields with Trevor Lawrence sitting right there, who many consider the best quarterback prospect since some say Andrew Luck and then others say Peyton Manning. I think that's a pretty ballsy move if you go in there and decide Justin Fields over Trevor Lawrence. I get it. Like you look at some of the quarterbacks now and like he's obviously different from Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson, but these quarterbacks do work. But Trevor Lawrence is the prototypical perfect prospect.
I don't know. He sucks in bowl games.
Hey,
his last two bowl games, he
destroyed Alabama in the national championship. He destroyed Alabama in the national championship.
He did.
As like a true freshman, I think.
Yeah, he did.
But you're right. Recency bias will show us that against LSU and against Ohio State, he was not very good. But I can't see it. No way.
No, they can't. They won't do it. Like Jacksonville won't. I think they would be just scared of the backlash they would get. Like even if they were like, hey, maybe Fields is better than Lawrence, and I don't think he is. I'm honestly not huge on Fields.
Right.
Which I'm going to watch him this month. But like the backlash to that would be Daniel Jones times 10. If the Jacksonville Jaguars had the first overall pick for the first time in their franchise history, and they didn't take the guy that everyone's been talking about for 3 years, they couldn't handle it. They just couldn't handle it.
Jacksonville, with their 25 fans, that whole city would burn to the ground if Roger Goodell goes up there and says Justin Fields, not Trevor Lawrence.
I went to a Jags game, and I was surprised at how many Jaguars fans were there. But it was against the Colts. But like if the Steelers go in there, it really is like a Steelers home game.
I'm sure, yeah. I mean, it's a Steelers home game when they go to MetLife.
I was actually there for Blake Bortles' first touchdown pass.
That's memorable.
They put him in for Henne. And they went 3 and out, but he threw the ball deep twice compared to Chad Henne, who was checking it down every single pass. And so they go 3 and out, and they're punting, and the whole crowd is like giving a standing ovation that they just threw that Blake Bortles threw the ball deep.
I was on the Jaguars bandwagon for a little while. And,
I was too.
Tom Coughlin was there. That was a fun playoff run they made. And they should have beat the Patriots in the AFC Championship game.
I like Doug Marrone. I think Doug Marrone's a good coach. Like he had the Bills at 9-7, and this was before. This is the Bills as we know them. He had the Bills at 9-7, and then just quit. Which there's still like I looked for it. There's no real explanation for why he quit.
Apparently, and I know on the Michael Kay show up here in New York, and he's good friends with Doug Marrone. Apparently, the Jets he was going to take the Jets job because he quit, and the Jets had a vacancy that year. But the New York Daily Times, Manish made it, was doing hit piece after hit piece after hit piece on a daily basis, and apparently that scared Woody Johnson off, and that's why Doug Marrone wasn't the coach of the Jets. I don't know if that's completely true, but I've heard that numerous times. So
where is Manish Mehta? Is he just dead now?
I think he's on a boat somewhere. He's gone. gone.
gonna look
It's
it up.
about time they got him out of the building.
Dude, he was the worst. Like I couldn't imagine him being like he
How do
makes
you
Pat
employ that
Leonard and
guy?
Matt Lombardo seem like normal guys.
Which is not the case. So at all. No, Manish, he's quite the
I'm trying
character.
to. His account is still like suspended.
He was like stalking
Joe
what's his
Douglas'
name?
son or something like
Yeah.
that.
I mean, come on.
He I remember he said Daniel Jones like teams wanted to work him out as a tight end.
Oh yeah.
That was my first introduction to Manish Mehta.
Yeah. He heralded the Adam Gase hire, saying it was a brilliant hire. He brings leadership, offensive guru, blah 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 blah.
He's the
Gonna fix
most
Sam Darnold.
person in the world. But anyways, back on Doug Marrone. I thought he was a good head coach. But I get them wanting to start fresh. And Blake Bortles was the worst quarterback. I couldn't stand him. I wouldn't even want Blake Bortles as my backup QB. He was so bad.
Yeah.
I actually played with him in high school a little bit, but he was horrible. I've always said I wouldn't even want Blake Bortles as my backup, and that guy almost went to the Super Bowl.
Which is it's kind of sinful. They should have went to the Super Bowl. I remember watching that Steelers playoff game. They were scoring at will on the Steelers.
It was like 21-0, like halfway through the first quarter in that game.
Crazy.
That team is so talented. Like, think about the talent of that team. Jalen Ramsey, Calais Campbell, Miles Jack, Tevin Smith, the guy who retired.
Yeah, their defense was lights out.
Yannick Ngakoue, AJ Bouye. It was an unreal defense. And like you said, their offense was so bad. I remember like that was Fournette's rookie year. He didn't even average 4 yards per carry.
I know. They couldn't do anything offensively. It almost reminded me of like the 2016 Giants, where the defense was lights out and the offense couldn't do anything unless it was a slant to Odell.
If they had a top 30 quarterback in the NFL, they probably would have went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
but
which is just mind-blowing. Top 30 quarterback, and there's Blake Bortles.
I know, like Daniel Jones is the Jags QB that year. They go to the Super Bowl.
They may win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Case Keenum is the Jags QB that year. They win. Yeah. They probably win the Super Bowl.
Well, fun year for them.
What about Zach Wilson? I know you like Zach Wilson. Do you think they could go him there too?
Yeah, Zach Wilson. No, I don't know how much I trust the Mormons, so maybe I'm a little weary.
There was like some character like thing of him, if like he's like a snotty, like bratty kind of dude.
Yeah, do we know how true that is? Because it's got to be like where there's smoke, there's usually fire. Saying like he's from a rich family, doesn't really care, not a leader.
I mean,
he sounds perfect for the Jets.
I'm just gonna look up Zach Wilson snotty and see what comes up.
Yeah, the rich family thing. I'm just saying like that's what was part of the. I wish I was from a rich family.
Yeah.
I'd be snotty. I'd be snotty.
I don't know, but then you wouldn't be a simple man and you wouldn't be allowed to be on the show.
That's a good point. No, I'd rather be on Simple Man Radio than be rich.
That's true. Caserio to the Texans. Well, I don't get why would the Patriots let him go if he was good? And then two, they must have been desperate because nobody wants that Texans job. Like,
no, it's a bad
kind of
job.
Weird to have a QB like Deshaun Watson as a potential, like, hey, come be the GM of this, and nobody wanted to touch it. I mean, the fact that their first round pick is with Miami, which is the 3rd overall pick, has to be just brutal.
It's stabbing them in the heart.
Yeah. They lose DeAndre Hopkins is the best wide receiver in the NFL, and they trade him for a 2nd round.
And a running back that can't run.
I think they're screwed. Like, unless Deshaun Watson. But Deshaun Watson played at like his same level this year, and there's nothing they can do. J.J. Watt's getting older. The team's getting older. They are a team that is just like they are going to hit a dead period here for the next 5 years.
And next year they don't have their 1st round pick either. Now, I was thinking about it last night because, like you said, I don't know who the hell would want this job. I also don't know how successful people from the Patriots front office is going to be because I feel like, Bill runs the whole show, and plus they haven't drafted very well to begin with. They got like no cap space, no picks. The selling point being Deshaun Watson's great and all, but with no assets or nothing, how do you like rebuild this team? Am I crazy to think like you trade Deshaun Watson and completely like that's the only chip you have to even get anything back?
Can they ever? Can they have like any money in free agency soon and just go all in on free agency? Because
that's got to be their only play.
The Texans, you just can't. You can't trade Deshaun Watson. You just can't do it.
I know, but he's their only chip. Like they have no trade capital, no draft capital.
What could they get for Deshaun Watson? Could they trade Deshaun Watson back for the 3rd overall pick and like a 1st-round pick?
And maybe Tua goes back. Go Tua and a 1st for Deshaun, and Miami's boom right there.
Miami should do that. That's a good idea. That's Miami should trade Tua and a 1st, and then next year's 1st-round pick, and then throw in a 2nd or whatever for Deshaun Watson, and then they're Super Bowl contenders.
Right, like off the rip.
They are like favored in the AFC with that. You know, they add some type of wide receiver or something. They've got a young team.
I would do that now. I would trade. They have 2 1st-round picks this year, right? The 3rd and I don't know, probably like the 15th, 16th, 17th, something like that. Why not both of them? Both Tua, Watson, because I think you need a lot for Deshaun Watson. You could command like 3 1st-round picks. He's an elite quarterback. He's top 5 in the league, arguably. He
is. That would make Miami a Super Bowl. But then, so you give the Texans Tua and their 1st-round pick so now you have Tua, a QB can get behind, and then you draft, Penei Sewell, and you have Sewell and Laramie Tunsil, or you draft a wide receiver. So you have that wide receiver for Tua, and they've got a little bit of talent.
They got the defense is good. Great coach.
Is there
I would be excited about that. I don't know why we even.
They don't have a head coach yet. Who get Eric Bieniemy in? Who do you think can be the head coach for the Texans? So Caserio's there. Will there be any connections from Caserio to be the
Josh
head coach?
McDaniels? Like, does he want that? Does he want to leave?
I hate Josh McDaniels. So
I do too. I don't know why he's liked around the league. I don't even know if he is anymore. But first thing you think of when you think of this new GM is, does he bring somebody over from the Patriots? And Josh McDaniels sitting right there. He was a head coach before. It's getting down there in New England. I don't know how much more that band's sticking together. So if Josh McDaniels is going to leave, it might be now.
Yeah, I just don't see how anybody can ever want Josh McDaniels. Like, everything went so bad in Denver.
Real bad.
And then it's like, oh, he's matured, though. He's matured from that. And then he leaves the Colts at the altar, which was a blessing in disguise.
I was just going to say, best thing that's ever happened to the Colts.
And then seeing how their offense went this year, I get Cam sucked, but it's like, and they don't have any good players, which is funny that the Texans go and get Nick Caserio because they just don't have good players.
No.
I just don't know, how anybody could ever be interested in Josh McDaniels again. If you do, you're just I guess we could have said the same things about Jason Garrett, though.
Yeah, I think it's a little different for Garrett coming in to just run the offense as opposed to McDaniels coming in to run the whole operation. But yeah, I could see what you're saying. All I read is Bieniemy to the Texans makes the most sense, which I guess I don't even know. Why doesn't he have a head coaching job yet? There's got to be a reason.
I think he will.
This is the year. Yeah, this is the year. But this is the 4th year in a row where.
Can I also say, because people are like, oh, the reason Eric Bieniemy is not hired is because of racism. I hate that so much. He was a running back. He doesn't call the plays for the Chiefs, and then you see what's happening with Peterson and I guess Matt Nagy's. But halfway through the year, Matt Nagy was a wanted man with Chicago. He doesn't call the plays. Yeah. I understand why Eric Bieniemy he doesn't call the plays. Yeah. If you're trying to get an offensive mind, you want a guy who called the plays. We have no idea how Eric Bieniemy is as a play caller. I don't think it's some crime against humanity that Eric Bieniemy didn't get a head coaching job. No,
the screams of racism on Bieniemy. It seems to be just Bieniemy too, because of how explosive that Chiefs offense is. Well, it's pretty easy when you have Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and Andy Reid's offensive system.
Andy Reid, who made Kevin Kolb look like a top-notch quarterback.
Right, exactly. And that's Andy Reid's offense. It's not Bieniemy's. Like you say, he doesn't call the plays. He didn't make this system up. So I'm not really sure what the attraction is either. But
I like him. I think he deserves a shot, but I don't think it's a crime against humanity that Eric Bieniemy hasn't got a head coach.
The crime that we see on Twitter and in the NFL world.
Think about last year. The Giants, they're happy with Joe Judge. Carolina, at the point they're happy with Matt Rule, and you understood the Matt Rule hiring. Who was the head coaching gig last year that didn't deserve? Maybe Mike McCarthy in Dallas.
Maybe.
But even then, hey, the guy won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, like you could make an argument as to why Dallas would hire McCarthy, but other than that, I mean, Washington, Rivera, clearly,
Yeah, Rivera was at top of my list going into the season.
yeah. So I mean, everybody seems to have. I don't remember exactly who else was. Either way, there's not like one guy I'm like, okay, Bieniemy should definitely be in over that guy. So
simple man racist. Justin's trying to get a rise out of us in the chat. I'm not gonna let it happen.
There's a surprise.
He said a crime against humanity is Snacks' face. Can Snacks reveal one person he would like to spit on if he's okay? That's actually a good question from Justin. Can Snacks reveal one person he would like to spit on if he saw them in person?
LeBron James.
LeBron. You would waste it on LeBron though?
Probably no. You know what? I'm almost to the point where
like you would get death threats if you spit on LeBron.
I know you're right, but that's okay. I get death threats sometimes nowadays, but that's just some angry Cowboy fans. No, honestly, if I was going to do it, you're right. I probably shouldn't waste it on LeBron. I'm kind of past it now. He's just so tiring. I'm so sick of him. Tiki Barber. It's obvious. I hate Tiki Barber. I hate him. And if you people have listened and watched, they know how much I hate him. I despise the man. I would spit right in his face, and I never think twice.
You should go outside the radio station and do it, and we'll make a video for
that's right.
radio.
He's right. That's right. Maybe.
What station is he on? ESPN or The Fan? I don't know.
No, I think he's on Sirius.
Sirius? Tiki and Tyranny?
I think so, right? But it's weird because on WFAN he has he does like one of those minute segments. So I don't know if they have an affiliation.
I have no clue.
I don't either.
So
he's so irrelevant. That's the case.
I know. It is kind of crazy that Tiki was the running back he was. He has a station in New York, and the only time you talk about him is when he says Saquon sucks at blocking.
Yeah, listen. He dug his own grave. He was beloved. I worship the man. He was absolutely beloved. So the hell with you, Tiki.
The hell with you, Tiki.
There's a laundry list of people I'd spit on. We don't need to be rude.
Yeah, we have a hard out at 11 today because the Giants are having press conferences. What are you expecting out of that? Because I always go into these press conferences like, oh, what are they going to say? What are they going to say? And I just remember they say nothing. But with Gettleman, you usually get like one quote you can tie to, like the computer folks. Like computer folks was an all-time line last year. Doesn't matter what side you stand on Gettleman, the computer folks line was an all-time line.
He really set himself up for that. I think he's going to go and he's going to pound the table on the free agent class and the rookie class because that's all he's kind of got. I mean, like Jones didn't take a second leap. Like if Jones played really well and then won 6 games, I don't think anybody would be complaining if Gettleman came back. But you know, it wasn't much of Jones's fault in the first place. So I guess we'll see. He's really got a Martinez, Bradbury, the draft class. That's what he has to hit home on.
Buddy Brown brings up a good one last year when they were talking about Daniel Jones. He's like, we didn't know he'd come that fast. Like I have that somewhere on my phone. Ryan Hawk says Tiki should be a Hall of Famer, though.
No, he shouldn't. Not at all. Not even remotely close.
Did Rondé Barber make the Hall of Fame?
He's a finalist, yeah.
Is he a finalist this year?
I think he's this year. He's a finalist.
You know what pisses me off? Zach Thomas and John Lynch haven't gone in like the last 5 years. And I can't complain about it this year because this year's class is so strong.
Yeah.
With Peyton Manning at the top.
Calvin. John Lynch. How is John Lynch not in the Hall of Fame?
I don't get it. And I don't get how like Zach Thomas was like a big part of my childhood as a football fan.
Yeah. Great linebacker. I used to love the
neck collar.
Oh, loved it.
And then like John, like I don't know, maybe they didn't want to put too many people from that Bucs team, but I felt like John Lynch was an all-time safety.
Yeah, no, he was phenomenal. It's a good class. Tony Baselli still hasn't got in, so we'll see. I don't even know.
Tony Baselli, he's another one who like deserves to be in. I don't get it.
Yeah. Hopefully this is the year. That's a stack class. I think like 6 people are allowed in, 6 players.
I think it's only 4.
Oh, it's only 4. Maybe baseball at 6. Either way, that's tough because you have 2 like off the bat.
Hall of Famers per year in football. Man, let's pick our Hall of Fame class right now.
All right.
2021 Hall of Fame class NFL. Class of 2001. Come on. We got a hard out at 11 for this.
All right, we got it.
Got a hard out at 11. All right. So we got Eric Allen, Jared Allen, Willie Anderson, Rondé Barber, Cornelius Bennett, Tony Baselli, Leroy Butler, Alan Faneca, Rodney Harrison, Torrey Holt, Calvin Johnson, John Lynch, Peyton Manning, Clay Matthews Jr., Sam Mills, Richard Seymour, Steven Tasker, Fred Taylor, I forget about him. Zach Thomas, Hines Ward, Reggie Wayne, Patrick Willis, Charles Woodson, Darren Woodson, Brian Young.
Yeah, all right, I got the list. You said there's 4, right?
Yeah, 4 allowed, I believe.
All right. Well, wow.
Is Peyton on there?
Peyton's on there, yeah. So Peyton's 1, obviously.
Peyton times 2. What about Calvin? Are we doing Calvin Johnson? Did he play enough, or does he have to wait a year?
I think he's a Hall of Famer. He was so dominant.
I do too.
But I could see the argument
this morning.
of him.
I wanted to make the argument. Of like, oh, he cut his career too short, and then like he's going to get in, but he waits a year. But then it's like I hate those guys that are like, oh, they can't get in first ballot, but eventually they'll get in.
It's so stupid because if you're a Hall of Fame player, it doesn't matter, and he's a Hall of Fame player. He was that damn good.
The other 2 new finalists are Jared Allen and Charles Woodson, and I think it might just be the 4 new guys.
I was just going to say that.
Like Jared Allen does
say that.
I really do think like you just put in the 4 new guys because like
I think Charles Woodson's surefire Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I think it's easy this year. Like I'm not putting Bocelli ahead of those guys. I'm not putting Rondé Barber ahead of those guys.
And
Eric Allen, I'm not.
We were talking about We were talking about Lynch and Thomas, but I don't know if they could go over any of those 4.
No, and it's like last year I wanted Lynch and Thomas in. I can't remember who they put in last year because they didn't do the ceremony.
Yeah,
but I think it's going to be the 4 new guys this year. I think it's kind of simple for them.
It's pretty simple. It's simple. It's actually pretty cool though. It's actually pretty cool though. Their first time on the ballot and they go right in. Just shows how good they were.
That is something. Are you going to go to the Eli Hall of Fame ceremony in 3 years?
Without a doubt.
Yeah, that's something that Talking Giants. I don't know what Talking Giants will be in 3 years, but we will be in the Hall of Fame
in some capacity. Yeah, we got to do something for that because he's definitely. I don't know if it'll be on the first ballot, but he's going in. So I know. It's like something I don't even want to like try and get into because there's no point in convincing those who don't think he already isn't a first ballot. So.
All right, we got 3 minutes. Pick of the day. I'm going Heat -2.5. They're playing the Celtics, who they had in the the Eastern Conference Finals last year. They've heard the whole Mickey Mouse stuff. It was fake at Disney. They're going to want to beat the Celtics. Jimmy Butler is going to will them to win by 2.5.
I love Miami Heat and Eric Spoelstra, so I like that pick. And since it's my first day here and we didn't get to talk about the Brooklyn Nets, I'm going to talk about the New York Knicks, and I'm taking them +7.5 at home against the Jazz. We watched the Jazz get thwarted by your Nets last night. Some tired legs. The Knicks are hot. They play defense. Lock it in, baby. 7.5.
We didn't get to talk. Well, I got 2 more minutes, so I can go. Damn. Jared Allen is the weirdest thing Kyrie and KD ever did, and they're 2 weird guys. Those are 2 weird guys who do some weird things.
DeAndre Jordan.
DeAndre Jordan. Making him sign to the Nets never ever made sense. I get he's your friend, but make your friend sign for $4 million a year or something because he sucks. He's the laziest player I've ever seen play for the Nets. Like I can't remember a player for the Nets that I thought was like hey, he's lazier than DeAndre Jordan. And Jared Allen has I actually thought they were closer than people thought last year, even though Jared Allen I gave the edge. Jared Allen looks much better. Jared Allen looks like he came better. He started last night, played 32 minutes, had 19 points, 18 boards. He's been solid. He's been the most consistent player for the Nets all season. So they finally start him. And I just feel like they have to dance around DeAndre Jordan's feelings, but I think eventually he's going to have to realize. And he's just the laziest player. Like he's a guy who doesn't really have an offensive game besides dunking. And he doesn't have he's not as good on defense as he was before. He doesn't even box out. He just doesn't box out. I hate watching DeAndre Jordan. I can't believe KD and Kyrie made that guy join for $10 million a year or whatever it was.
That's the one black cloud on Kyrie and KD going to Brooklyn. But no, I watched a little bit of the Nets game last night, and he's an atrocity. And I know the Nets are not known for their defense. I know that's been bad. But Jared Allen looked 20 times better. The Nets defense looked 20 times better with him starting than DeAndre Jordan. So that should tell you all you need to know. DeAndre Jordan sucks.
Screw you, DeAndre Jordan. All right, we got to go. We got to do these John Mayer, Dave Gettleman press conferences. We'll see you tomorrow to be me and the entertainer again on this channel and Swimman Radio. Here in the comments, subscribe to the new channel. Subscribe to the new channel in the comments. All right, we got to go. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll see Snacks next week. Stay simple.